You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
Let's do office is what we'll do. So Stacy's office, starting from like day one of buying her first facility or getting out there and starting to look for facilities all the way till now. Okay. So let's see, how did it work? So what happened was in 2015, I got pregnant. And during that time, I was doing renovations. So from 2011 to 2015, we were doing like rehabbing renovations, right? And you have to remember from 2011 to 2015, that was when we were coming out of the bubble, right? If anybody remembers this, y'all can put this into the chat and let me know. But like you were coming out of the bubble. And during this time, basically the way the way United States worked was that there were like a ridiculous amount of houses for sale, right? But then there was like no money, right? All the banks were like, no, we're not lending. We can't lend. We're all in crises, whatever, right? So if you remember that time period, I got in right when that happened. And the reason I got into real estate was because my husband, he started in like 2009, he started a home inspection company. And so he would go around and he was building up he would go around do home inspections. And you remember 2009 wasn't really too bad. I mean, and then 2010, it started growing. In 2011, he got really big. But what happened was that over the course of those 2 years, I mean, he was just like, Stacy, there is a ridiculous amount of houses out there that are all in foreclosure and they all need work. And like, I think there's a really good opportunity out there. And I was just like, I was doing another job. I was actually in the wind turbine business and I was building turbines. That's what I did. Is I built wind turbines for almost 10 years. And I was like, no, I travel the world and I get to build turbines. No way, Jose. And he was like, I really think that we should, just start looking at this. So this is what we did. We started looking. He convinced me to start looking at all these houses. We started driving around looking at all these houses. Like, oh my God, there's like ridiculous amount of houses on for sale. If you remember, I don't remember, like every house on the street was for sale. And I was like, maybe we should just try this. So we did, we started getting into renovations. And then of course it just took off because it was the perfect period to do it. But remember, during that time, there was no money. There was no money at all. So I had to get very, very good at raising money. You could not go to a bank and get a loan during this time. So you had to get really good at creative deal structuring. And so I got really good at raising money and doing creative deal structures. That's where all of what I do now stems from, is from those couple of first years where I really had to think outside the box in order to get money to do all these renovations. And we ended up doing 100 renovations during that time. It was a ridiculous amount. And I would never wish that on anybody. Do not do this because it was horrible. I was running around like a crazy person, stressing out. And I ended up leaving the job and doing all these renovations. So in 2015, I got pregnant. And during that time, I was doing 10 renovations. And in my mind, when I got pregnant, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to do 10 renovations at one time and have this little tiny baby to take care of? I was there's just no way, because I was already running around like a crazy person. So my thought process during that time was, I need to do passive income. I know I want to stay in real estate. I love real estate. I love everything about it, but I can't do active income. I have to do passive income. So that's how I started getting into storage. So I told my realtor and I told my team, I was like, I'm not doing renovations anymore. We're going to finish all the renovations that we have. But in the meantime, during that 5-year period, I got really, really good at raising money, right? Because you need a lot of money in order to do renovations. And because, you either go to hard money or you raise money. And I just got good at raising money. And basically, when I say I got good at raising money, this is what it means. I asked everybody for money. That's what it meant. Like anybody I knew, anybody I came across, I said, do you have any money? 25, 50, 100 grand, anything that you have, you can give it to me. I'll use it and I'll make you money and I'll do a renovation and I'll make some money as well too. And that's basically how it is with raising money. I just ask people for money, and then I would cut them into the deal, or I would, pay them back or whatever. So, because I get a lot of questions about funding, which I saw, and funding is really, for me personally, funding is raising money. And until this day today, I mean, all I do all day long is sit and talk to investors and really ask them for money. Now I have a fund, so I can put everything into this fund. But before I had the fund, I was just talking to regular people, borrowing money from regular people and buying all my facilities that way. All right. So that's really raising money. But in the meantime, in 2015, I got pregnant. And then in 2016 is when I had Lillian, right? So in 2016, we bought our very first facility, and we named it Miss Lillian Self-Storage, right? Named after her. So that's the first one. All right. And what I did is I borrowed this money from a private lender. It was $250,000. Okay. My first facility. So I'm telling you, I started out like little tiny facilities. This $250,000 facility, we still own it. It's worth like well over $1 million now. But, and so what happened was, it took me 1 year. I was managing and doing everything myself on this facility. Okay. So like this first facility, right, it was just me. I answered the phones. I put everybody into the software. And this is back like in 2016, if you guys don't know, is right when ESS and storage had just got started. Like they had only been, like ESS had just gotten started maybe in 2015. And ESS is a software, the Easy Storage Solutions is a software that had just gotten started. And StoreEdge, which is the software that we use to manage our facilities, had just gotten started maybe 2 years ago or something like that, right? So if you think about that, from like 2010 to 2015, like nobody was thinking about storage. Like I'm telling you, nobody was thinking about storage at all, right? 2015, 2016, 2017 is really when kind of like these softwares started to come around. And the only software that was really out there before ESS and storage was SiteLink. And SiteLink is kind of an older software. And then there might have been like a couple of, I've heard like Storage Commander, maybe a couple of others that may have been around for a long time, but like were super basic softwares. Okay. So I basically did all the demos of all the softwares I could find. I went in. Then remember back in 2016, there was not anybody teaching how to invest in self-storage. It was like one other person, and that was it. Like I could not find anything on storage investing at all, right? So I really had to figure all this out myself. So I went in and like I started to like Googling like storage, like self-storage software, and I found like the three ones I told you about. I found ESS, I found StoreEdge, and I found SiteLink, which are the three that are owned by Storable. At that time, the three were not owned by Storable. Storable was not even around. Storable came around like later. Okay. But so I did all the demos, and then in the end, I just like the interface of storage storage better. So that's why I chose StoreEdge is what I did to use it. And I'm the one that set everything up. And, back in the day when I started working with storage, it was like 3 people working for the company. So like for our first onboarding experience, like it was super hands-on, and they just like, they were there to answer questions and show you what to do, whatever. And it was also not like it is today. Like storage now is really kind of like an enterprise solutions. And storage is like, I mean, and storable is really funneling a lot of money into building out storage. Storage is going to be the premier software in the storage investing world. And actually, we're beta testers for them now. We do, if they have any new things, they always ask us to test it out, to see if it works good, which is what we love, right? But we love how like storage really adds a lot of new features. Like you can manage everything with storage, which is really good. But so after we did all these demos, right? All these demos, I got it all set up. I answered the phones. I'm the one that was the boots on the ground person. All right, my very first facility, I didn't hire out a phone person, and I didn't hire out a boots on the ground person. Now I always tell all my students, like, you should really just hire that out. If you can afford it, you should hire it out. But like nobody told me, so I just had to figure it out for myself. So it was me. I was the boots on the ground, and I was the call center, right? That was me, okay, for the first one, okay? And then, my first facility was like maybe 125 doors, something like that. Okay, just to give you an idea of how big it was, right? So it wasn't really a small facility. It was like a good sized facility. And then in 2017, we bought our next facility. Our next facility was like, it was 60 units plus 15 parking spaces. All right, so really, let's say like 75 doors or 75, okay? Second facility, and it was like 75 spaces, okay? And I'm the one that was the boots on the ground and the call center. It was me, all right? I did both of these. So together, that's about, 200 doors? So in 2 years, I had 200 doors, okay? And and all the while, this very first facility that I bought, I'm telling you, it took us a year. It took me a year to figure out this thing. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and nobody told me what to do. And like with auctions, and this is back before you could not do online auctions. Like there was no such thing as online auctions. Like online auctions just came like out in the last couple of years or so. But it was like, this was not around, right? So I had to go out, do the auctions, open up the door, let everybody know, this kind of stuff. I was there. That's what I did, is I was the auction person. Auction person really falls under boots on the ground right now. You could say like, if you're going to do auctions, like office stuff would be, I guess, well, no, that's not true. So auctions is really like, if you're going to go out there, the only thing that our boots on the ground person does for auctions anymore is just takes pictures. That's it. Because we do everything like online now. But before, I would go out and I would you didn't take pictures of stuff. You just put it in the newspaper and then people came out. And that was me. I did all this. Okay. And then the call center really now is the office person. The office person really kind of does all the back office stuff for the auctions, answers the phones, puts the tenants in, calls when they're late. Like when we had late payments, that was me. I was calling everybody and saying, hey, your payment's late. Can you pay? And, and everybody knew I was the owner. On these first two facilities, they would call me and say, Stacy, like I can't pay. They all knew I was the owner. That also, I tell my students, do not do this. Do not do this at all. You are not the owner. You are nobody. You're just like a maintenance person. If you happen to be out there at your facility, you should just be like your maintenance person, and nobody should have your personal phone number, nothing. Okay. That's the rule. Okay. And then in 2018, we bought two facilities. Okay. Third and fourth. Okay, and let's see, the third and the fourth, gosh, I'm sure they're probably like maybe 60 each or something like this. I can't remember what I bought, honestly, but I would say another 120 doors. Okay, so now we're at like 300, let's say 350 or whatever, 300 to 350 doors. Okay, all right. So in 2018, at around 300 to 350 doors, I hired Bonnie. All right, so Bonnie has been working with us now for, all my students know Bonnie because I have Bonnie come in and like tell everybody what she does for the facility, for the company now. But she was actually working for my husband, Pete, for the home inspection company. She was like the admin, the office manager. And then once we sold, so my husband from 2009 to 2019, My husband was doing the home inspection. He grew this like huge, big home inspection company. And then we decided to sell the home inspection company and only do storage because we were making way too much money. Like home inspections were like active income and we really wanted to be passive income, right? So in 2018, we sold the home inspection company and then we moved Bonnie over to work for us on the facilities, the storage facility. But she only worked. So what happened is like she was closing out the home inspection company, and then she was starting to get into the self-storage company. So she worked like 20 hours for like closing out that company and doing the transfer and stuff, and then also like 20 hours for me. So Bonnie started, she was admin, and she had like 20 hours a week with me, and that's it. That's all I could afford was 20 hours a week. But she helped me, and she was the one that started to answer the phones. She was the phone person. She was the person inside that would do like all the office stuff, and she started to help me with the auction. So she was really like call center and auctions. She was not the boots on the ground person. We did not hire a boots on the ground person until later. Boots on the ground person was me and Pete. That was our boots on the ground person. We went over and we would overlock people and we would sweep out units. I have videos. If you go back to like 2018, you'll see like Lillian, actually Lillian was a little too, but probably 2019, we had her like sweeping out units and stuff. Remember, this is all Miss Lillian self-storage right here, right? So we'd take Lillian over and then she'd be like a little baby just sitting in her carriage and we'd be like sweeping out units and stuff like this. This is how it was, okay? And then in 2019, we bought three facilities, okay? So we had our 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. How did I pay for these? Private money, private lenders. That's how I am 100% privately funded. That's not true now. So we have one facility, our very last facility that we bought, we actually went to a bank and got a loan. That's number like 16. All right, so it took us up to 15 facilities to actually go and get a loan. So I'm not 100% privately funded anymore, but like mostly privately funded, okay? All right, so the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and they were probably, let's say on average, like, they were all smaller doors, smaller facilities. They were probably, let's say, anywhere from like 60 to, 100 doors. So let's say on average 75 each. So 75 added times 3 is what? 225, right? So let's say we added another 225 doors. Okay. And so this is us bringing Bonnie on full time. Okay. So Bonnie is now 40 hours a week. This is like, we couldn't afford to pay Bonnie 40 hours a week, right? Because she was making like $15 an hour or something like this, right? We just couldn't afford to pay her until we added more doors. And our goal was to like make sure she had enough work, she would stay with us. And so we added, once we could afford her, we bumped her up to 40 hours a week. Okay. And all the while, this is about the time when like we're done with the home inspection company. It's like the perfect transition. Okay. And we are still, Pete and Stacy are boots on the ground. And so then this is when Pete comes over and Pete starts taking care of the facilities. All right. So he's moved over from home inspection. He manages the management part of the facilities. And then I'm managing like the finding and the funding, right? So I do funding, and he does running. And this year is when all that happened. And Bonnie and Pete worked together up until this past year. They worked only them. And that's not true. We hired one boots on the ground person, let me tell you. Okay, so 2020. So 2020, and this in 2019 is when I started Storage Nerds. Right. I started kind of helping people get into it and stuff. Because I'm the type of person anyways, like if I know something works well, like I want to share it with the world. So I was like, let me get out there and start like showing some other people how to do this. Because there is something about this thing. Right. And so in 2020 is when we had three, let's remember COVID hit. Right. And so we had 3 facilities under contract. There's one owner and he had 3 facilities. And the day before the closing, he like backed out. I was so upset. It was like we got it under contract, maybe like March. We're supposed to close in August. It was March or April, supposed to close in August. I had to raise that money, and there was a lot of money to be raising for me. Or I was like, I don't know, like 800 grand or something, cash, because they were like mismanaged facilities. And so I raised all that money. And then the day before closing, he was like, I changed my mind. And I was just so upset. I was like, so we bought none. So, and I couldn't get another one under contract because it was COVID and like everybody's freaking out about everything and stuff. So I just couldn't find one. Everybody was like not selling and stuff at this time. So we did not buy no facilities. But during this time, this is when my coach, during this whole time, just so you guys know, I had a coach that was a money coach, how to raise money. I always have coaches, right? So during this time, I remember there was not really anything about learning how to invest in self-storage. So I couldn't really have a coach for that, but I did have a money coach. And he is the one that showed me how to raise money. He was, he always gave me tips and stuff. And so during this time, he told me in this year, he's actually in 2020 is when he told me, he was like, Stacy, he's like, I really think that you should consider doing a fund. He was like, you're kind of, with all your rehabbing experience and then all the storage facilities, like you're kind of at that point where you should be syndicating or like you should have a fund. And I was like, and I never even thought about that, honestly, until he told me. I was like, you know what? Like, you're right. Like, I've raised like millions and millions of dollars. Like, I should be able to go out and get a fund. Of course, I had no idea about anything with funds. So this is when I started learning about funds. So then I did not get the facilities. But in the end, I started researching and I hired a consultant and a company to help me get a fund, right? So I started like, wait a second. So fund education. So 2017, 18, 19, all private lenders, 16 to 19, private money up till then. And even in 2020 is private money. If I would have bought something, that would have been private money. So basically from 2019 to 2021, like Bonnie and Pete are managing the facilities. I'm the one that finds the facilities. I'm the one that funds the facilities, and Bonnie and Pete are managing these facilities. Pete is the boots on the ground person, and Bonnie is like the office person. And that's how it was. So a total of, let's see, how many doors? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 600 doors. Yeah, that's about where it was. We were at like 600 doors. Bonnie and Pete, that's it. Nobody else. Okay. And then in 2021, we bought 4 facilities, privately funded because I did not have my fund. All right. So these are private money. And so we bought 7, 8. So 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay. So we had 11 facilities. And, all these facilities are going to be like less than $1 million. Like they're going to be anywhere from like $800,000 down or something like that. Okay. And so this is all private money. And so the fund was not started yet. We were in the process of getting it ready. It takes a long time to put a fund together. I'm going to tell you, it takes months and months and months to like be able to syndicate a deal out. It takes months to be able to syndicate that deal out. And then like, if you want to do a fund and raise like millions and millions and millions of dollars, you have to put the whole thing together. You put the PPM, you got to put the subscription, you got to put the financial model, you have to understand everything. So I was really educating myself and working through putting this fund together is what I was doing. And actually the fund was really ready to be launched, right? Like I would say like right before the last quarter, but we decided to push it out until like the beginning of 2022, because you don't really want to be asking I have no qualms with asking for money like any time of the year, but my lawyer and my consultant basically advised me and said, you should really ask after Christmas, you should ask for money. And I was like, okay, fine. We'll just start it in the first quarter of the next year. So 2021, this is where we buy our next facilities. Let's say on average, they were kind of bigger facilities, so probably about 100 doors each. Yeah, and so then let's say we added another 400 doors, right? So we are at like 1,000 doors right now. Okay, we're at 1,000 doors. This, and then it's all over Georgia. We had not like gotten out, right? We had not spread out our wings or anything like that outside of Georgia. And so we hired, and so Pete was like, "There's no way I'm gonna be able to do all this, Stacy." And I was like, "Then hire somebody, you know." So we hired like a boots on the ground person that basically helped Pete and, you know, drove all the way all around Georgia and helped us to like be the boots on the ground person. We had one boots on the ground person. And then Pete also. So they were the two together that were really kind of managing the overlocks and this kind of stuff, and you know, overlocks and auctions and stuff like this. And right about this time is when we started getting onto online auctions, so that guy made everything a little bit easier. But yeah, so we had like a total now of around 1,000, let's say 1,000 doors. This is when we hired a full-time boots on the ground person. Okay, this is when we hired a full-time boots on the ground. So we had a boots on the ground full-time, plus Pete, plus Bonnie, and then me, right? So I'm fined and funds. And then they are like really office. And then these two were the boots on the ground people, full time. So really it was like, you know, the four of us. We were lean, mean, self-storage investing machines, so we were, right? And you have to remember too that like for us personally, we buy severely mismanaged facilities. So we don't buy income producing properties. Like we've never bought an income producing property that's actually making what it should be making. We're always buying properties that, you know, you have to get bad tenants out and good tenants in. You have to clean the properties up. So it's not like renovations like rehabbing, but it's like renovations is in like, you know, you got to clean up, you know, power wash, maybe paint, fix some ballards, fix the doors, fix the springs, you know, so stuff like that. So it's not a lot of stuff, but it's like, you know, trying to get it cleaned up. But then the main part of what we do is we're getting all the bad tenants out. So economic occupancy, essentially in the storage world, you have physical occupancy and economic occupancy. So physical occupancy is when like the owner says, "Yeah, I'm full." And then you say, "Okay, well, how many people are paying?" That's economic occupancy. So, I mean, every facility I've ever bought, they say, we're full. And then I say, "Okay, what is everybody paying?" And it's like, nobody's paying, you know, that's kind of how it is. So then that means like as asset managers, our job is to get all of the bad tenants out and get good tenants in that have our contract signed, that are paying on time, that, you know, understand our rules and follow them, you know, and, you know, this kind of stuff, right? And this is the hardest part of owning a storage facility, especially if you buy mismanaged facilities, is really just kind of, you know, getting that economic occupancy up so that the tenants that you have are good paying tenants. So for instance, like the facility that we're wholesaling right now in New York, this guy, if you look at his reports from ESS, he uses ESS to manage his facilities. So he sent us management summaries and rent rolls and stuff like that. Everybody's paying. Like he's at 90% occupancy and like 89% economic occupancy. I mean, essentially, when you're owning a storage facility, that is your goal. The typical facilities that we buy are like maybe 50 to 100% occupied, and the economic occupancy is well below 50%. All right. So we are really kind of like trying to get all these tenants out, and they're all complaining and yelling at us and like, you know, putting bad reviews onto Google. That's kind of where we get all the bad reviews at. Because it's like, you know, you raised my rates and, you know, blah, 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 all this kind of, you know, this kind of stuff. Okay. All right, good. So that's 2021. And so then in 2022 is when we launched the fund. Okay. 2022. And then started raising a lot of money. And when you have a lot of money to raise, then essentially, you know, you can buy bigger deals. You can buy a lot more deals, right? So last year we bought, in 2022, we didn't buy a lot of deals. We bought bigger deals, 2 really good size, big deals. All right. So it was like 12 and 13. We only bought two actually. So started raising money and we bought two, raised enough money to buy those two. And in 2023, we bought, let's see, 14, 15, 16, right? 14, 15, 16. So we bought three. All right, 14, 15, 16 is what we've raised. And these are all in the fund. And really, my goal is just like focusing on the fund right now. Everybody's coming to me and said, let's partner, let's do deals and stuff like this. It's actually the fund and my students. Those are my goals right now, is really to help my students be successful, and then the fund. Okay. And we're not done with 2023. So who knows what's going to happen, how many more we're going to buy. Now, when I started buying bigger, these facilities are like, 300 doors, big, huge facilities and stuff. So, when you start buying these facilities, then obviously this is when we started hiring more people to manage all of our facilities and stuff. So we have, and then also like we have we have one facility that's in Orlando and another facility that's in Clarksville, Tennessee. So that's like, a boots on the ground person that goes to that facility twice a week. Right. And then we have the Leesburg, they go twice a week to that facility to help us get it up and running and stuff. And so that's two boots on the ground people. And then we started really like in the state of Georgia, and we bought two facilities in Florida. Right. So we have a boots on the ground person that kind of goes out, manages these. And then so we basically, the way it works for us is like we have, let's say, Georgia, and then here's Florida. Right. Okay, so we have like a facility here and a facility here. Like, so what we do is we create many portfolios. So these people, this right here, these facilities, is 4 facilities, probably within like maybe an hour of each other, right? And so we have one boots on the ground person that manages that portfolio, right? That little mini portfolio. And so this is one, right? So we have like we have a part-time boots on the ground person that manages 2 up here. And then we have 6 facilities in Atlanta. We have one person that manages those. All right. Some are smaller and some are bigger. So it's like, okay, maybe, we don't need that much on, go check it out once a week or something like that. And then we have the one up here in Tennessee, right? This is Tennessee. And then we have one down here in Orlando. Right. This is the boots on the ground. So you can think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 boots on the ground people now. We have 5 total boots on the ground people that we're managing, because we have the facilities all over each other. We pay those boots on the ground people $20 an hour is what we pay them. And they go out. They're either full-time. We have 2 full-time, and then we have 3 part-time. So they're going out. The goal is once a week to go to the facility, do the walkthrough, upload, give us so Bonnie is the person that really now, Bonnie manages like in-house. Bonnie manages everything for the software. All right. That's what she does on StoreEdge. And so like, when they do their walkthroughs, when the boots on the ground people do their walkthroughs, and whatever they do, if they need something fixed or repaired or whatever, like essentially they're telling Bonnie, hey, I have something like a door that needs to be fixed. Can you order the spring or whatever? Okay, so this is like Bonnie and the boots on the ground people, really. Now, Pete is really high level, managing everything, right? So Pete's like high level. So he still goes out, he trains all the boots on the ground people is what he's doing. That's his job, is training all of them, getting them going, and then going out maybe once a month or something like this to go check on them, meet them, see how they're doing and stuff, okay? And then Bonnie's in-house managing all this kind of stuff. All right. And then we have now 3 call center people. So we have a total of like 2,000 doors plus. I don't know how many doors. We have a lot of doors, right? We have a lot of doors. So we have 3 call center people that are answering the phone. We're about to hire, we're hiring a 4th one and training them actually right now. So we have 4. And then we have one person, we had Steph that we hired. Okay, let me see. When did we hire Steph? Yeah, Steph we must have hired. Yeah, we must have hired her here. We hired her like in 2022, I think. All right, let's add Steph. Steph is our call center. And she like worked for us for like a year, and she just did that. And then whenever she couldn't work, we had like an after hours person answering the phones. Like we just had like an after hours service. Okay. And then we hired another person, and so Steph now really kind of manages all the call center people. She trains, and she does an awesome job. Thank God for Steph. She helps, and we meet. So basically what we do is we meet Steph on a weekly basis. And what we do with Steph is it's all about how can we have the call center people better on the phones? Because if you think about it now, like we are a true asset management company. Now we're only managing our own assets, right? But the truth is that person that answers the phone is the person that's going to make or break your business, right? That person that answers your phone has to answer your phones at all times. You must answer your phone. If you do not answer, like we have learned, if you don't answer the phone, the people are on to the next place, right? They just want a place to put their stuff. They don't care where it is. They don't care brands or anything like this. They just want a price. That's it. Can we afford it? And is it close to me? Right? But the person that answers the phone, whoever's talking, it's really about like they're salespeople. Like if they're answering the phones to get someone moving, they're salespeople. So how can we be better about that? So we have like one person that really is just for sales, the best person on the phones. And then it's like when you call in, it's like press 1 for sales and 2 for customer support. And that one, when they push 1, it goes to the best phone person, the person that can give them discounts and price matches and whatever it takes to get them in. That's what that salesperson is for. And then the other 3 people are customer support, because we have 2,000 tenants. We have a ridiculous amount of tenants. And so like, it's all about, they're always like, they want to pay online, they want to move out, they want to do this, that, whatever, So like, it's a lot of stuff. So that's kind of how it is. So Steph was in 2022. And then we have like a true call center now. Like we have 4 people. We have Steph. And then underneath her, we have sales. And then we have like customer support. Okay. So total, it's 4 people to answer the phones 24/7. We always answer the phones. All right. And we meet on a weekly basis to look at calls, listen to calls, and discuss occupancy. And when they call up, Steph, essentially every phone call, she documents it and she tells me why they did not move in. Right? I want to know why they didn't move in. Is it because we were too high or whatever? So that's kind of what we do on a weekly basis for all of our facilities now. We're really kind of getting really good at this. And we have a lot of leads coming in because we do Google ads. And so we have an in-house person that does Google ads for us, but they do all my marketing for stacyrossetti.com. That's why y'all are here. And then on top of that same person does all of our Google ads for us as well. So that person, we meet with them and go over that. So, overall, these people, how we went is like up to 600 doors. It was just Pete, me, and Bonnie. All right. After 600 doors, we added a boots on the ground person to help alleviate some of the stress from Pete. And he was traveling around taking care of facilities and stuff with Pete. And then once we started the fun and started buying these bigger deals, that's where we truly started adding a call center and hiring the boots on the ground person to really kind of manage the facilities that we buy and stuff. All right. And so really that's how it is. So it's really Pete and Bonnie managing everything, and then the call center people and the boots on the ground people. Okay. And that's how it went from 2016 until now. Okay, so I see a whole bunch of questions. I'm going to answer that. So it says, do you do customer surveys on customer experience? Yes. So like we have a referral emails that go out. We have surveys that go out. So like, we have, when you have 16 facilities, there's not a lot of people, honestly, that have there's not a lot of like family owned businesses that have 16 facilities. There's a good handful of them, but not a lot, right? So we are really trying to internally become like a true property management or asset management team. Everybody's always asking, are you ever going to manage anybody else's facilities? The truth is, like, we got to get really good at managing ours. There's no way for us to go manage somebody else's facilities unless we're like, we are at occupancy. We're at 80 to 90% occupancy for all of our facilities. All right. And that's kind of how it is. So like, I don't want to bring on anybody else and then just piss them off because, I see in Facebook groups and stuff, everybody's always complaining about ESS, complaining about call centers, complaining about, everything. Is like, that's just not us. Like we want to buy a lot of storage facilities and just manage our own facilities is what we want to do. Okay. And then, Doug is asking, how much do you profit per door? There's like no way to answer that, Doug. There's no way. Every facility is different. We shoot for 10% cash on cash return, but we're typically way higher than that. Like my IRR, our IRR is like, it's in the 30s, right? But we're shooting for the best we can, but it's, you're going to make way more money doing this in your multifamily for sure. Okay. How about new construction? So we have never done new construction in Storage Nerds, the coaching program. There's a lot of people that are doing new construction, but we have not done new construction. I did a couple of new construction homes back in the day and I hated it. Honestly, I'm not good at it. And, I'm not good at managing all that stuff. We're too busy to be doing that, but we will expand. We are in the process of expanding. We have one facility in Florida that we're going to be expanding on. And then also the one that we're closing on right now in Carrollton, that one we're going to be changing to climate. There's like a building that we're converting to climate control. So we're not new construction, but we are doing conversions and expansions. Okay. Just so you know. Okay, let's see what else. Do you have incentives for employees? Yes, we do. So we do all kinds of bonuses and stuff like this. So it's all different all over the place. But yeah, we do a lot of bonuses and stuff, because we want everybody to stay. Like Bonnie, we cannot have Bonnie leave at all. She knows this. And so we pay her very well. She's part of the family. She actually came and stayed at our house for a week, just hung out with us. And let's see what else. And, and then we're cutting her into the deal. We do profit share and stuff. And so, we do all kinds of bonuses, whatever it takes for everybody to stay, make them feel like part of the family. We have a lot of people that work for us. We have a total of 30 people that work for us now. We want everybody to feel part of the family for us. Okay. It's very, very important. And that's another reason why Pete goes out to the facilities. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you have, it's passive income. You don't have to go to your facilities. But the truth is, these boots on the ground people, they're working by themselves at these facilities. And, that's kind of lonely after a while. Maybe the first couple of months, you're like, yeah, I got some freedom. I can just do whatever I want, no drama and the companies and stuff. But the truth is people need communication and contact and stuff. So Pete does daily huddles. Every day we're big on daily huddles. So we're doing daily huddles and weekly meetings, and we're making sure that we meet every employee every single week. And then on top of that, we're also, Pete's also going out to the facilities on a monthly basis. He'll go and just check in with every facility. He may not go to all of them that they're looking at, but he may say, okay, I'm going to go drive up and go meet William and go see how he's doing at, the facility up north or whatever, and just spend the day with them, just hanging out and checking, working with them and stuff. All right. So that's kind of how he does it as well, So, okay. Do you do all your deals in one state? No, we have Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida. Like I said, we're here. So Georgia, Florida, and then now we're up in Tennessee. Okay. So we're open to anywhere in the Southeast, honestly. We're getting to the point now where we'll probably be all over the Southeast. We're in the process of selling our very first facilities. Like these first facilities up here from 2016, 2017, we've stabilized those. So we're going to be selling those off. And once we sell those off, we'll be able to 1031 exchange that money into bigger deals. So we started out with $1 million or less. Right now, we're really typically $1 to $3 million. I really like this $1 to $3 million range, and we'll probably just stay in that for a while. And if you think about it, $1 to $3 million mismanaged facilities, not $1 to $3 million income producing properties. Mismanaged facilities is where you can typically double or triple the value of that property over the course of the next 2 to 3 years. Right. So if we buy something for $2 million, it should be worth at least $4, $5, or $6 million when we sell it. Okay. So those are big facilities. It's just that they're severely mismanaged. So we're getting them, 50 cents on the dollar. But the truth is, with a mismanaged facility, it's a lot of work. It's not an income producing property. It takes a year for you to actually make money on a mismanaged facility or more. And I tell that all people, everybody in my fund as well too. When you put money into my fund, like you will not get a distribution for 18 months after I buy this facility. It takes that long for us to start making money on mismanaged facilities. So if you're interested in mismanaged, everybody always says, I want to buy mismanaged facilities. And then I'll show them a mismanaged facility and look and see that they have to come out of pocket every month for the next 6 months. And they all just like freak out. Income producing properties are cash flowing properties, right? Mismanaged facilities, you have to come out of pocket every single month. Okay. But you make more money on the back end. Income producing properties is just a little bit of appreciation on the back end. It's just a risk level. And so Pete and I, we're just higher risk level people than a lot of people. Okay. And then let's see, we have, okay, where do you get the leads? Yeah. So, okay. So if you have not, this is your first time, you've not followed me, I teach this all the time. I have 15 different ways to find storage facilities. If you buy my course, you can learn all 15 different ways. But we have internally, I have 10 virtual assistants that work for me and do nothing but call owners. Okay, so we are doing cold calling right now. But when I first started from 2016 to 2020, all of these facilities that I found are all of these are driving for storage. Driving for storage is what I teach. Getting out, driving for storage equals market research. Okay, getting out there and really getting a lay of the land and looking for storage facilities, smaller facilities that are out in tertiary markets or secondary markets, not primary markets, not suburbs of primary markets, but out in the middle of nowhere is what I'm talking about, because that's where you're gonna be able to afford a couple $100,000, right? And then actually these as well too. So let me add this. All the way up till I got to the funds, everything I found was driving for storage. Oh, that's another thing. Okay, so actually in 2020 to 2021, this is where I hired an acquisitions person. I hired an in-house acquisitions person to go out and find my facilities. So he's the one that found the 3 facilities that we did not close on. And then, he found these 4 facilities. All right. And then after that, he left. And this is when I started. And when I started doing, in 2022 is when I started the virtual assistants. So here is where I have my VAs, 10 VAs cold calling. Okay. That's how it is. So now I have 10 VAs cold calling owners and asking them if they want an offer. And then what happens is, because we have 10 VAs all over the country calling, if somebody finds a facility outside of where I'm interested in, then we give it to the student. We offer the students the deal, and then I can partner with the student on the deal. Okay. And then acquisitions, the acquisitions person, he worked for me for 2 years, and he found 4 or 5 facilities for us, and then he moved on. He wasn't into it anymore. So, but that was me too, that's the finding part. So I was hiring people underneath me to help me find facilities. Pete was, building up the management team is what he was doing. The funding part was me up until the fund, actually up until 2023. And then I hired Ann. If you've emailed me about the fund, most likely Ann has emailed you back. And Ann is my investor relation manager person. She's the one that handles all my investors and all of the communication, because I got a lot of investors. I mean, I got hundreds of investors that I work with now. So she kind of helps me with the communication and stuff for that as well too. Okay, so that's Ann. Ann is for the fund. Let's see. Oops, Ann. So she's underneath me. And that's how I've kind of built it all out over the past, 7 years. This is how I built everything out. Now, obviously, you don't have to do all this. You could just own your own storage facilities and manage them. You could be up, you could just be this, you and these couple of people to manage 1,000 doors. Okay. You don't need a lot of people, honestly, for up to 600. After up to 600 doors. 600 doors, it gets a little crazy. After 600 doors, you're like, okay, I need to hire somebody. After 1,000 doors, it gets a little bit crazier. And then once you get like 1,500 doors plus, it's like, okay, you're just running around like a crazy person. Okay. All right. Okay, good. Let me see what else. And then we pay our virtual assistants are in the Philippines. We pay them $7 an hour. Okay. Plus bonuses, lots of bonuses. Okay. All right. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Remember again, all right, quickly right here. This is me, StacyRossetti.com, StorageNerds.com. This training session's free, so come listen to me every week. You'll learn something new. The course is available, so make sure you get the course to DIY it along with the deal analyzer. All right, I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I will see you next time. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.